Good day, students. Welcome to mathgotserved.com. In this clip, we're going to be going over how to create and factor perfect square trinomials. This standard is covered in Algebra 1, 2, and Pre-Calc courses. Don't forget, we have 5 practice problems at the end of this presentation that we'd like you to try out in order to demonstrate mastery of the content covered. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and take a look at the links in the description below to gain access to a wide variety of resources to help you master algebra. Alright, the instructions for the problems that we're working on are as follows. We're to find the C value, the constant that makes the quadratic trinomial, the quadratic expression, a perfect square trinomial. Okay, makes a perfect square trinomial, and then factor the resulting expression. Now, this particular standard that we're covering is required to carry out the completing the square algorithm for solving quadratic equations. Alrighty, this is one of the intermediate skills required. To solve completing the square, to solve quadratics by completing the square, you need to know how to create and factor perfect square trinomials, and you also need to know how to solve absolute value equations. Okay, so all those standards are covered in our presentations. Just take a look at the link in the description below, or just go to our playlist for algebra, and then you can find the relevant standards. Okay, so for the first one, let's say we're working with x squared minus 24x plus c. All right, so what c value will make this a perfect square trinomial? So the c value that makes this a perfect square trinomial, all you just have to do is replace c with b over 2 square. Okay, so our b value here, so in this setup that we have, a is 1 and then b is negative 24. So let's go ahead and carry out the substitution. We're going to replace the c with b over 2 square. Okay, so let's put it in blue. No, let's make it green. We're going to add b over 2 square. So adding b over 2 square to a quadratic in the form x squared minus bx will create a perfect square trinomial. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and simplify. We're going to have x squared minus 24x. We're going to use PEMDAS to reduce this. So b is what? B is 24. So we have negative 24 over 2 quantity square. That's what makes a perfect square trinomial. Alrighty. Okay, so let's simplify. We're going to have x squared minus 24x. Negative 24 over 2 is 12. So plus negative 12 square. And then what is negative 12 times negative 12? Negative 12 times negative 12 is positive 144. Okay, so the c value that makes this a perfect square trinomial is 144. Alrighty, now let's go ahead and factor. Now to factor perfect square trinomials is pretty straightforward. What you do is you square root the first and the last term and bring down the middle sign. Okay? Alright, so your factored state is going to be x minus 12 quantity squared. Okay, let's try another example, number 2. What if we have the expression x squared minus 20x plus c? So what c value will make this a perfect square trinomial? So let's rewrite the problem, x squared minus 20x plus c. So all we just have to do is replace c with b over 2 square. Okay, so a is 1, b is negative 20. So if we carry out our substitution, we're going to have x squared minus 20x. And then instead of c, we're going to add b over 2 squared. That completes the square. So, all right, let's substitute. We're going to have x squared minus 20x plus b over 2 negative 20 over 2 quantity square. Using order of operations, let's simplify what c is. It's going to become x squared minus 20x. Negative 20 over 2 is negative 10, so plus negative 10 square. And then when you simplify that, you have x squared minus 20x. Negative 10 squared is 100 plus 100. So the c value that makes this expression a perfect square trinomial is 100. Okay, all right, so now let's go ahead and factor. Since it's a perfect square trinomial, to factor it, all you just have to do is square the first and the last term and bring down the middle sign. You can factor it using the x game, but this is the fastest way to do it. X minus 10 quantity squared is your factored state. All right, let's try another example. Problem number 3. So for question 3, what if we have x squared minus 18x plus c? So what c value will make this a perfect square trinomial? Oh snap, it's supposed to be minus 18. All right, so we know the drill. All you just have to do is replace c with what? With b over 2 squared, right? So in this case, a is 1, b is negative 18. So you replace c with b over 2, negative 18 over 2 quantity square. Alrighty. Okay, let's simplify that. We have x squared minus 18x. Negative 18 over 2 is negative 9. And then when we simplify, we have x squared minus 18x. Negative 9 squared is 81. Alright, so the c value that completes the square, is 81. Nice. Okay, so now let's go ahead and factor it. If we want to factor this expression, all we'll do is we'll square the first and the last term and bring down the middle sign. Okay, so the factored state is going to be the quantity x minus 9 square. Okay, number 4. What if we have x squared plus 4x plus c? Let's go ahead and try that one out. So we want to find the c value that completes the square. So we know a in this case is 1 and b is 4. A is the coefficient of the quadratic term, b is the coefficient of the linear term. So we're going to have x squared plus 4x, and guess what? We are going to add b over 2 square. Okay, so what's b over 2 square? 4 over 2 square. Simplify that using, please excuse my dance Sally. We have x squared plus 4x. 4 over 2 is 2 square. So it's going to be x squared plus 4x plus 4. So the c value that makes this a perfect square trinomial is 4. Okay? Okay, now let's go ahead and factor the resulting quadratic, the resulting perfect square trinomial. So you square the first and the last term, and your answer is going to be x. Oh yeah, bring down the middle sign, don't forget that. Okay, x plus 2 quantity squared is the factored state. All right, let's try one more example, then we'll give you an opportunity to do some practice problems. Number 5, what if we have x squared plus 7x plus c? Okay, so we want to find the c value that makes this a perfect square trinomial. Okay, so our A is 1 and B is 7. All right, so to complete the square, we are going to go ahead. We have x squared plus 7x, and then we're going to add b over 2 squared. That's what completes the square, okay? All right, so let's do the substitution. We're going to have x squared plus 7x plus b over 2 squared, which is 7 over 2 quantity square. Let's simplify that. X squared plus 7x. Now, 7 is odd, so 2 doesn't go into it, so we just square that. So when you square 7 over 2, you have 49 over 4. So the C value that completes the square and makes this a perfect square trinomial is 49 over 4. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and factor. So to factor, you just square root the first and the last term and bring down the middle sign. If you do that, you're going to end up with quantity x plus 7 over 2 square as your factored state. All right, it's now time for you to do some practice problems. So what we'd like you to do is we'd like for you to try out these problems right here. So the instructions are the same as before. You to find the C value that completes the square and then factor. Okay, so go ahead and pause this video presentation at this time. Try out these 5 problems. When you're done, click on the play button and we are going to show you what the answers are. Alrighty, welcome back. Hopefully you had a chance to try out the problems. Let's go ahead and show you what the answers are. So for number 1, the C value that completes the square is 400 and the factored state is x plus 20. For number 2, the C value that completes the square is 100 and the factored state is x plus 10. Quantity square, oh sorry, forgot that. All right, number 3, the C value that completes the square is 9 and the factored state is x plus 3 quantity square. Number 4, the C value that completes the square is 1 and the factored state is x minus 1 quantity square. Number 5, the C value that completes the square is 121 and the factored state is y minus 11 quantity square. Alrighty, so how well did you do in these 5 problems? Let us know in the comment section below how well you did. If there are any questions or comments, clarifications that you have, just put it in the comments section below and we'll be more than glad to support you. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch this presentation. If you find the contents of this tutorial helpful in your studies of quadratics, to give us a like or thumbs up. Your positive feedback is very valuable to us. If you have any questions or comments about the contents of this presentation or any algebra related question, just post it in the comment section below and we'll be more than glad to support you. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We upload videos to our page on a regular basis. A lot of support resources can be found at our website, mathgotserved.com. Do check it out. Thanks again for watching and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.